Hello, welcome back to Intra Avenue.
You're a terrorist, and here's why.
How was your day today?
It was alright.
Yeah,
It was alright.
it was alright.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray.
I need to go sleep.
Yeah,
Sleep after.
late, early in the day.
Yeah. Kind of
Um,
times.
But my day was spent doing a lot of sleeping. There's a stray cat that I'm like kind of luring into my apartment.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
If it wants to be friends, we can be friends. If not, I understand. I'm not gonna hold it against it. This is the second time that we've recorded this episode.
Yeah.
I don't even really remember like why we decided to. I think it was just a general let's just do it again.
Yeah, I think it could have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're doing it again. It's a lot of fun. I'm not that mad. It's also I think something that's kind of important maybe to talk about. So I just want to make sure that it's one of the episodes that we're proud of in a year.
Yeah.
Because it's not Will Smith getting smacking Chris Rock.
No, but I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not as comical.
No, yeah.
It's not like Will Smith just needs to apologize and everything's all better.
Even just approaching it, I feel like, like it is like serious.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I'm very grateful that I'm not a lawyer right now.
Really?
Kinda.
And you're like.
I'm like lawyers are doing the hard work, so I don't have to, as long as they succeed.
Yeah.
If they fail, then I'm gonna have to be doing way harder work than being a lawyer, I think.
Shout out to attorneys.
Yeah. Shout out to 5 specific individuals, attorneys specifically. Specifically these 5 people.
Yeah.
But
They are not attorneys.
it's they have attorneys.
They do have attorneys.
And their attorneys are fighting.
I get what you're saying.
They're pretty great attorneys that are having to do some
Yeah.
terrible stuff that I just would not. Like, can you imagine being in that position when it's like, oh, they're breaking the law now? Like, my whole career has been the law, and they just don't care about it anymore. Like, wouldn't that be like a little uh-oh?
So we should say what happened.
Yeah,
Do you know when that happened? That was last month?
I think it was more than a month ago now.
More than a month ago?
Yeah, it's been a while now. So
Yeah.
you wanna 237 people were deported essentially overnight with no trial, no proof that they were guilty.
Yeah.
They were treated like they were guilty before they were never given a chance to prove themselves innocent, and they were sent to a country that they've never been to, and locked away in a facility that often takes away your speech.
Yeah.
They don't let you talk to anybody.
Yeah.
They don't feed you correctly because they want you to be hungry so that way you can't resist what they're doing to you. They shave your head.
Yeah.
Which is like most prisons, sure.
I think though in most prisons solitary is like you go in a room by yourself and they give you a book. Or they give you like some sort of thing to like do.
I don't know. I don't know a lot about solitary.
I think they give you like a book,
Yeah. I don't think they give them anything. They don't even give them a bed.
No. Solitary there is pitch black.
Yeah, they don't even give them a bed. It's a concrete box with a metal steel slab to sleep on.
Yeah,
with no windows and no light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of the most horrific places in the modern world. If like you really think about would you want to spend a night there? Like being treated like that? Like I can't. There's few places in the world that I would rather go be finding myself in.
Yeah.
It sounds very much, kind of like.
I think it's important to just point out. I was trying to explain this episode to my mom, and just tell her hey, we're gonna talk about the people who were deported and just the
president
people,
of El Salvador and
just
this facility he runs
and she got a little more upset than I thought she would, and was kind of coming at me you know, like, listen before, like, you
Listen
judge.
here, you stupid liberal.
She literally was like, listen before you judge. She didn't say stupid liberal.
Yeah, but she was throwing that energy.
No. She was just saying she knows people from El Salvador, like, personally.
That's
and like
a subjective experience is always like I'm a big fan of subjective experiences.
Yeah.
I do take them with a grain of salt, but I want as many of them as I can possibly get.
Yeah, to make objective truth finding.
Yeah. But what did she say?
She was just saying how like they were telling her that it was really hard to live there.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
Like actually like really dangerous, and like that guy, the president of El Salvador, like, you know,
Nahib or something his name is.
He created like the prison and like whatever, but then now crime's really down, and it is, and then that's
and it's in the same sense of like CCOT and the way El Salvador is dealing with crime feels very much in the way that like they dealt with crime in the Dark Ages. Oh, you steal fruit? Cut his thumb off. Like, just cut their hands off. And it's so much so that it's like the punishment is so severe that it terrifies people into acting right. It doesn't encourage good thought. It doesn't, like, you know, fix a lot of the problems that is, like, why people are committing crimes. But it just makes these people more scared to commit a crime than starve.
Yeah.
Than do other stuff.
It's a deterrent.
And, like, it's a pretty effective deterrent when they're like, hey, we're going to lock you in a box. We're going to not give you a mattress or a pillow. We're going to make it so you can't talk to anybody, not even the other people locked up in here with you. And we're going to physically abuse you. And we're going to take your name away. Like, we're going to call you a number.
Yeah.
Like, where else?
Yeah.
What other times in history have we rounded people up and sent them somewhere and then called them a number?
Germany. Nazi Germany.
That's just weird, bro. That's just really weird to me. And, like, well, I'm pretty... Where's Auschwitz again? Because it's in Germany, right? Auschwitz is in Germany?
No. Auschwitz is in Poland.
Auschwitz is not in Germany?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, so then they would take people from Germany and they would send them to this facility. Yeah. And they would take away their name and they would treat them badly and they would call them by a number. And that's weird. That's so weird.
It's so weird.
We also paid $6 million.
Yeah, I think
to
roughly.
Deport these people, and I'm pretty sure that's like a yearly thing. Like, we paid a subscription service. The United States government paid El Salvador a subscription service to house 237 people, and it's about $25,000 a head.
Yeah.
So for $25,000 a head, we'll take your prisoners and lock them up in our country.
Yeah, I think we should talk about what he used to deport them.
Yeah.
Edit that out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. We should definitely talk about that. And so what he said he was gonna do it on the campaign trail. Like Trump, he said, I'm gonna use this.
Aliens Enemy Act is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially like it's only been used during war times, like historically, like
it's wartime authority.
Yeah.
The president is the head of the executive branch of government, which is the head of the military, and it's very important that when we are at war, that the president can do stuff that he normally doesn't do because he has to mobilize troops, he has to defend our country from foreign invaders or foreign attackers, and that's like really important. It's that our president can have that power in the event of wartime.
Yeah. And like with this one though, it's like
where's the war?
But
point to the war.
Yeah. But it's like no, it's only really been used during war times. Like I think in World War I, they were deporting people of German descent, and like essentially it's like you can declare them like a terrorist, and then or like, you know, an enemy of an
well, so the Alien Enemies Act
had
nothing to do with terrorism.
Yeah, no.
But it had to do with people from foreign governments.
Yeah, we were in war.
And it was like, okay, so you're German. We're at war with Germany. Like, so you're possibly maybe more loyal to Germany than America. I know you're living here, but your family comes from Germany.
It gives him the right to detain or deport anyone based solely off their nationality. is, if I remember correctly. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, and it has, the last time that I know of, I could be incorrect, that the Alien Enemies Act was used was by FDR, World War II time president, the only president to ever serve 4 terms, or to get elected 4 times. He didn't really serve the 4th term. He only got like halfway through. But it was, he's the only president to ever really use it. And you know what he used it for? You know how he used it?
Yeah.
How did he use it?
Yeah, he's responsible for the Japanese internment camps we have, and that's
is a bad word.
Had, and
in World War II era, it was the, essentially like we were putting Japanese people in camps.
Yeah, because
in America.
They were like thinking like, oh, espionage.
Yeah,
and then
Pearl Harbor was just attacked by the Japanese.
I think they found 2 people that were actually committing espionage, and they both.
And they just locked everyone else up.
No, but they were both not Japanese. Yeah.
So
I also
discriminating based on race.
Yeah.
Not only was not great to be Japanese in America at that time, but it was also ineffective.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's actually not the last time that it was used. I think the last time was during the Cold War, and then they had that's when they switched over to using the Patriot Act.
Well, the Patriot Act is post 9/11, so that was post Cold War.
Oh, post Cold War.
Yeah, the Cold War was over by then.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe they used it during the Cold War.
But
who would they have used it on? Because the Cold War was with Russia. Were they using it on Russians?
Essentially, they switched over to. They started using.
Yeah, they used the Patriot Act
instead.
Which makes sense because the Patriot Act is now about terrorism.
Yeah.
Whereas the Alien Enemies Act was about countries
and nationalities and
if a government Germany declares war on us, then we can look at all the German people like, you're the bad guys. But if Germany doesn't declare war on us and some group from Germany attacks us, aka 9/11 and ISIS and what they did in Iraq, and it's it wasn't Iraq that attacked us. It was a quote unquote terrorist group from Iraq that attacked us. So then we can do things based on just one bad group of people in an entire nation. We can go do messed up stuff. We can put drone strikes on your civilian buildings as long as your country has a group of terrorists that we have declared enemies of our state.
Literally civilian buildings,
And not only is that what the Patriot Act can do, but it can also make it so you can spy on your citizens. It makes it so with this video that we're making right now is it's probably being monitored by our phones to make sure I don't say some nasty shit like I want to kill the president. And I just got flagged, bro. My days are numbered. Yeah. Because the way that I play with the FBI and my NSA agent and stuff, they're gonna label me a terrorist and I'm gone.
Yeah. You're literally gonna go where you're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't do that though. I don't.
Yeah. But in the same sense of the Alien Enemies Act and how it was used on Japanese people and these are laws. This is an act. This is stuff that was there's lots of paperwork that goes into this. There's lots of steps. And it's, I've heard this said, and I do believe it, which is crazy. Nazis from the 1930s who committed atrocities that keep up the fucking 8th graders, the 9th graders, and the 10th graders learning about the Holocaust. That they're oh my God, that's unbelievable. The atrocities that were committed by these people, the Nazis, got more legal process, more legal representation than some of these people being sent to CCOT. They got a better chance to be hey, I was just following orders. And we were that's a bullshit excuse. But they at least were put in a position where they got to make the excuse. We aren't giving people the position to give them the excuse. And some of these people, they're not people walking down the street. They're not Nazis, bro. These are human beings. These are human beings that they haven't genocided anybody. They haven't just followed orders. They haven't
No, and in fact, a lot of them were in the process of becoming
trying to follow orders from the U.S. government on how to legally and properly come to America to be in the greatest country in the world because it's the greatest country in the world. And if you are living in a place that is scary and not safe and you live in El Salvador 5 years ago, before CCOT was making it cool, you should be able to leave El Salvador, come to America and be like, it's safe here. It's amazing here. We shouldn't look at you at the door and being like, what the fuck? Are you a gang member?
But
Well, you're coming from this place that has all this gang activity. You must be a gang member.
Yeah, and with that act, since you can just, like, detain or deport anyone, like, you literally don't need to go through the courts at all. Like, you skip that part, and it's, like... But it's frustrating and it's scary because it's, like, without that process of, like, trials, it's like how do you actually determine someone to be like...
How do you prove you're innocent?
How do you
prove they're guilty?
Yeah, because it's just like, okay, they're part of this gang from Venezuela, and
I say so.
That's it. Yeah,
so now because I said so, let's punish them.
And then they have punished also, like 270, like whatever.
When we use the Alien Enemies Act, the camps were in America. Like the Japanese camps were in America.
Yeah, that too. It's just and.
Like what it's crazy to say we can't even get this guy back because he's in a different country.
Yeah.
But like we're paying $6 million to put them there. So like, what is the point of paying to keep these people here if we have no control over them? Why don't we just send them there? And then it's like, then it's our prison. And if it's our prison, why don't we make it in America where we can do the stuff that makes it legal?
It's just odd too because of that like whole interview that they had.
Where Trump sat down with the president of El Salvador.
And like...
he said some crazy stuff. Because Trump was asked about one of the individuals that was deported that they... Like, you can look up his name. We're going to drop a bunch of names later because it's just, like, it's crazy. But he's like... He was asked, like, are you going to, get this person released? And
are you willing to?
It's a really good interview to watch because he then hands off the question to his cabinet, and his cabinet answers like, "Well, we would if El Salvador wants to release him, we'll give them a plane." And then the president of El Salvador is sitting in that room, so the reporters ask him, "Are you going to release him?" And his response is,
"What? What? You want me to smuggle in terrorists to the United States? You want me to smuggle
referring
in
to someone who has never been proved a terrorist in any court. You are innocent until proven guilty in America. Maybe not in El Salvador, which is why we don't send people there.
And the verbiage, though, it's like you want me to smuggle it in. Like I'm doing.
We just said we'd give you the plane if you let him go, and you're talking about smuggling terrorists. It's like no we're talking about smuggling. About releasing someone who has never been proven guilty of anything.
Yeah, literally no criminal fucking record, but okay.
But you're gonna call him a terrorist.
Yeah.
You're gonna call him a gang member.
Because you've already declared him that. Now you can freely say it.
Yeah, you can't.
What?
To now admit that he's not a terrorist, that you made a mistake, is to then admit that you've locked someone up for now weeks of this man's life in one of the most terrible prisons on the planet has been spent being abused and like physically and emotionally just mistreated for being from somewhere else.
Yeah.
For struggling wrong.
But genuinely that's like what did they do wrong other than like be a nationality that he wanted to deport?
Cuz it's like we all got our struggles. If you don't, you're lying. Like we all got our struggles. The billionaires got their struggles. The difference is I don't give a shit about them. But most of us got pretty reasonable, pretty struggles that we can relate to. Everyone's got struggles. Everybody's got stories, bro. But it's like you should have to prove the punishment fits the crime, and the crime is proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are guilty. Otherwise, we should not punish you for it. Yeah. That's like what this country was built on. That's what the founding fathers like fought and died for. That's what they signed the Declaration of Independence for. And you know what they were? They were outcasts and losers, bro. Nobody fucking liked them. They were like, dude, why are you trying to stir problems? And it's like, no, bro, I'm just trying to live free. Why are you not trying to stir problems?
Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating. Like, and I'm getting like, blah, blah, blah. But I've heard even... I don't know, you brought this up to me.
What?
That Trump was talking about declaring people who were bringing up issues of due process.
Yeah.
Terrorists.
Yeah. Yeah. Even just that's that.
Because it's like to bring up that these quote unquote, from his point of view, terrorists deserve due process is then, oh, you're a terrorist. You think these terrorists deserve due process. And it's like, so what are you going to do to me now that I think that every person deserves due process? Because if you take it away from one person, you take it away from every person.
Yeah.
Because if you can...
And then him talking about, like, declaring people who, like, Molotov, like, Teslas, domestic terrorists, when it's, like, you should give them, like, vandalism or arson or, like, destruction of property.
To label them a terrorist and then take their rights away based on that label is, that's, like, why we have
But
crime.
then it's, like,
that's
because...
that's what a felony is. Like, that's...
The way he's, like, because there's no, like, due process, it's literally, like, oh, like, now, like, with the Teslas, it's just, like, well, you Molotov the Tesla, and then you're like, I've never seen a Tesla.
I've never even gone to a Tesla dealership.
I've never even seen one. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just, like...
Well, no, but you Molotov Teslas. No, I haven't.
Shut up, go to prison.
No, but you did, and I saw you, and you're a terrorist,
Yeah.
and because you're a terrorist, you no longer have due process, so you can't even prove that you didn't Molotov those Teslas. You're actually just being locked up, your head shaved, and we're going to send you to some other country that you've never been to. And Donald Trump has said this. He's said, he's thinking about the homegrowns.
Oh, yeah. The homegrowns are next.
The homegrown criminals. In, like, the same vein that I've said, like, that he's saying all this crazy stuff about deportation and, like, bad people coming across the border. I'm like, bro, there's bad people here. He took that and he's like, you're right. We should get them out of here. So now, if you're a citizen of America, born and raised, you could literally be... It seems like the President of the United States wants to be able to declare you, as a citizen of America, a terrorist. And then with that label, send you to some other country. Without a trial. You, as a citizen, you're a terrorist because he said so. And you have no due process because nobody cares enough about terrorists.
But then it's like even the courts trying to get involved and like people.
Yeah, that's why I said praise these lawyers. Praise these people
because that's like. But it's like even then, it's just like you want to smuggle in terror. Like it's just like they're not. They can just say that.
Cognitive dissonance.
They literally can just say that and then do actions based off of like. Just, I believe that you're a terrorist, and, like, I've already declared you that, so I'm not listening, and, like, I'm gonna do what I want. And it's like, oh my goodness, and it's, like, even our courts are trying to get involved and, like, get them back.
Yeah, and it's just,
There's, like, I think there's, like, some 25-year-old, like, kid there. Not to say kid, but, like, that's so young.
No, it's younger than me. There are people younger than me that are being sent to what is essentially the worst place on earth.
Dude, you lose the right to speak to any family.
You lose the right to speak to the other prisoners sitting next to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is like these people these 237 people, 237 people don't even know that we're talking about them. They don't even know that, like, we're upset that they've been taken somewhere. They don't even know. They essentially, in their frame of reference, have been kidnapped from the country they lived in, put on a plane, and smuggled to Venezuela against the orders of the federal government.
To El Salvador.
Yeah, to El Salvador. I'm sorry. But, like, the government has told them, like, hey, bring them back. Don't link those planes. And the president of El Salvador responded in a tweet saying, LOL, too late, laughing emoji.
Yeah.
That is a crazy historical tweet. That's going to be in history books. Yeah. The time the president of El Salvador laughed at the United States government's orders, and it's gonna be a tweet. Like to think about that. Like the screenshot of that tweet is gonna be in history books 50 years from now.
LOL, too late.
Laughing crying emoji.
Literally laughing crying emoji. Yeah.
Can you imagine Hitler commenting? So like, dude, if Hitler had Twitter,
oh my god.
Oh my god, it'd be game over. It'd be game over. We'd all be German.
I think we should take a break.
Yeah, we could take a break.
And then
I'm trying to think of like anything else I want to talk about before a break. But then when we come back, we'll talk about some of the names. Yeah, the names of the people
actually being affected.
These are real people that have really been locked up in a box without any court date, without any proof that they are who the executive branch of the government says they are, and they're then being punished for crimes that they may or may not have committed.
Prove it, and then it's fine.
Prove it, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
And then even then, I'm not a big fan of it being fine because I don't like sending people to another country.
Just to mention something on that interview.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck.
Interview Naib. He was laughing at him. Smuggled terrorist. Dead space. You're creating dead space.
It left me.
It's okay. But yeah, talking about due process, Molotoving Teslas, basically looking at Trump wrong. Probably we're getting to the point where Winnie the Pooh's going to be banned. And if you don't know, in China, Winnie the Pooh is banned. Do you know why?
Because they made fun of the president.
For looking like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
So he's like that's essentially like, we're like a couple days away from the Oompa Loompas getting color changed to green. So that way, and like anybody who has original copies of the Willy Wonka movie being labeled domestic terrorists for like spreading bad information about the president. And it's going to be just Oompa Loompas. Like it sounds so crazy, but it sounds so possible.
Yeah.
That it's like, Donald Trump just made it illegal for the original copy of the Willy Wonka movie, and he made it so the Oompa Loompas have to be green because he got compared to Oompa Loompas too much.
Yeah.
Like, all it takes is enough people to compare this man to Oompa Loompas, and he starts coming for Willy Wonka.
I think definitely do your research, and like...
Yeah, and that's why we're going to give you these names after the break, is that, like, just look them up. Just look them up. Like, don't take our word for it. Like, don't take any one person's word for it. Get as many different people's words about it as you can, and then think for yourself. I know. It's really crazy. It's a really hard thing to do for a lot of people nowadays. But, like, get as much information as you can before you make a decision.
Yeah.
I hate when I get like this, when I'm, like, dumb talking society.
Yeah.
But, like, I'd love to take a break.
Yeah,
you want to take a break?
Take a break.
Yeah. Well, come back. We'll tell some names. Yeah. Thank you. Be safe.
Bye.
Okay, and we're back. How's it going?
It's going good.
Break.
I remember what I was thinking.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, in the interview...
with the president of El Salvador and Donald Trump.
Yeah, sorry, if you guys want to go look that up, with the president of El Salvador and Donald Trump and, like, his cabinet.
In the White House.
In the White House, a bunch of media's there, and they're just, presenting questions. Honestly, the snarky comments from Trump, I know he's...
What a bunch of jokers. These losers. They're over here. They're completely corrupt.
Yeah, exactly. He's like implying that they're, like... fucked up for their questionings, and it's like, if you hear their questions, it's literally like,
hey, so that person that you like admitted that you like mistakenly sent to another country, are you gonna get them back?
Yeah, it's just
they're completely corrupt.
Do you hear them? It just was
unbelievable. And then the guy turns around and answers the question like, you want me to smuggle terrorists?
No, and
it's like, who's corrupt?
No, but it's like, even when Trump's cabinet's talking, or when Trump's like giving them like, shit for like asking questions, which is why they're there. The president of El Salvador is like grinning.
Dude, and he's like, I hate to say he's like a little kid. He's like a little kid. The way that the president of El Salvador. He's like a little kid, because it's like he's sitting there in that chair when he's asked this question, and as he's answering, he keeps like looking over to Trump.
Oh.
Like he's like, you want me to smuggle in terrorists? Like, come on. Like he's looking to Trump like, I'm saying the right thing, right? Like,
honestly,
this is what you wanted me to say?
To me, it seemed like he's more giddy that like, oh my god, they're really like eating this up. They're really just defending this point. Like, I don't have to say anything.
He's like, I'm fine because Trump's behind me.
Yeah.
Trump's helping me. Yeah. And so whatever they ask, I just need to answer it however Trump wants me to say it.
Oh, okay.
So that way he stays on my side.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you want me to smuggle in? I can't believe that he said that. Okay, just off the cuff. He had to have been coached on some... That's a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
And like he's sitting there, it's so like...
But that's not what the point I remembered. It was he had mentioned, I don't know what they asked, but his response...
Would you release the person?
Yeah, and then he was just saying like he's a citizen of El Salvador. El Salvador is
he didn't
like...
say that.
No?
Maybe you said that?
Yeah, because it's like he's a
Kilmar?
See, that's why I'm saying I don't remember which question it was, but it was he's a citizen of El Salvador. He's in an El Salvador prison. Like they're taking care of him. Why should we tell El Salvador
how to treat their citizens?
How to treat their citizens and like what to do with their citizens? And it's like, why are we paying then $6 million to
$25,000 a head a year?
So it's like, why are we paying them to hold their own citizens? Like, even in that point, it just didn't make sense. It was just like, okay, so like, why should we tell them what to do? But we'll pay them to keep their own people in there.
And it's also like, did we already pay for him? And it's like, now is it like, do we just lose the money if we get him back?
Yeah.
Do we just pay for someone that isn't being housed over there? So is it like a waste of money? Or do we get a refund with every prisoner that we accidentally like sent wrong?
Yeah.
Like, do we get $25,000 with every head that comes back?
Which we shouldn't get into them.
I doubt.
But
I really doubt. It's like we probably give them $6 million and we're like, keep them at all costs.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it's a crazy time to be alive. It's a crazy time to be American. It's a crazy time to not be dying. So.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Yeah, so we're getting into the names.
Yeah.
And the first name is...
getting a lot of media coverage.
Yeah, like if you look him up, it's...
I think it's mainly because Judge Zines, which is a judge in Maryland, which
is where he was
residing,
living. Yeah. Where he was like
with
married
his wife
and raising children.
Yeah.
And working.
I think he was a union guy. Yeah.
Like he was employed, paying taxes, raising children. Like definitely, I don't know, just off the cuff doesn't sound like a hardcore career criminal to me.
Yeah. No.
Doesn't sound like someone we should lock up in a foreign country and throw away the key without a trial.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like someone that maybe deserves at least a trial to prove their innocence, or like that we need the government to prove they're guilty. They can't just be like someone that's like, yep, they're bad, get rid of them. It's like, but like, weren't they just paying taxes and raising a child?
Americans.
Like, isn't that like...
they're like raising Americans.
Isn't that like what we're supposed to do, is like pay taxes and raise children? Weird. So weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kilmar has just... And again, like,
that judge
all these people don't know we're talking about them.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on.
No.
They were locked in a box and they were cut off from the outside world.
Yeah, and like they might think they're staying there. They might
literally think they're gonna die there.
And they might though.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
To go somewhere,
yeah.
Be locked up, be mistreated for the rest of your life, and then die in a box without a trial. Yeah, so Kilmar, I mean the administration admitted there was an error there.
Yeah.
But like, and then the smuggled criminals line is just crazy to say that from the El Salvadorian president. You know, I don't want to like, please look these names up. Like, please look them up.
Yeah, they're real people.
They're real people. They're really locked up in a box and they really don't know that anybody cares.
Yeah. We got Frangel Reyes.
Yeah, he showed up to an ICE appointment.
Yeah, this is why it's fucking foul.
Like he was scheduled to show up to ICE to be like, hey, I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to come to America. You know, one of my appointments is to meet with you guys. And he shows up to this appointment, and they put him in cuffs, and they put him on a plane, and they ship him to El Salvador without any court order from anyone, without the judicial branch of government giving any input. And it's...
Was he the makeup artist?
I don't think so.
Oh, Andrew?
Andrew was the makeup artist. Yeah, but yeah, he showed up. He was following the rules. And you know who didn't follow the rules? ICE. When they took him away without a court order from the judicial branch of government and sent him to another country. That's illegal.
Yeah.
You know what isn't illegal? Showing up to your ICE appointment. That's legal.
Yeah. Also, no criminal records on, like, any of these people that we, like, are talking about. Like, we couldn't find it here or in their
Well, and not we. We're punks.
Yeah.
This next person...
Andrew Hernandez Romero.
Was covered in a 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes covered some of these people. They were like, hey, this is what's happening. And 60 Minutes could not find a criminal record on more than 70% of the people.
75. Yeah.
75% of the people that went. 237 people. 70% of them. I mean, how much is that? Let's just do the math. 237 times 0.7, 165 people at least that 60 Minutes was not able to find a criminal record on.
Yeah, here or in their country of origin.
3 out of 4. That's 3 out of 4. You line 4 people up. One of them has a criminal record, the other 3 don't, and all 4 of them are going to a high maximum security prison.
Yeah.
And you know,
he was also here seeking asylum for, like, persecution.
It's a from what I've heard, not El Salvador. Venezuela's kind of a rough place to be right now.
Yeah. We've
got a lot of turmoil politically. They've got their president, which some people are like, I don't know how he got there. So it's just, you know, when you're in a very tumultuous place, like, it's kind of how I'm feeling about America right now. I'm like, damn. Where's more cool? Like, where's more chill? Like, that I could move to? And there's a bunch of people in the comments right now that are saying, like, then go, loser. We don't even want you. And it's like, I would argue you're un-American. I would argue that you're un-American. That's an anti-American sentiment to be like, go, we don't want you.
Yeah.
Read the Statue of Liberty.
Yes. Read the fucking Statue of Liberty, dude. Or even listen to this Republican, what was it, Reagan's quote,
Bush.
Dude.
Or Bush. It was Reagan.
Reagan's quote where it's like, America is for the people. What is it?
You can go to Germany.
Yeah.
You cannot become a German. You can go to Turkey, China, or Japan, and you cannot become a Turk, a Chinaman, or Jap. You can come to America and you can become American.
Yeah, and there's a clip going around of, like, a current politician.
America is for Americans and Americans only.
What the fuck is that?
You know what rally that was at?
No.
That was at the same rally that the Trash Island, Puerto Rico was from. Like, yeah, so the same rally. Some other guy. You know who else said that their country was for their citizens and their citizens only?
The Mustache Man.
The Mustache Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mustache Man said that. Germany is for the Germans and the Germans only.
Yeah.
The Mustache Man said America is for Americans.
Wow, so look
the
who you're
Mustache
agreeing
Man
with.
said that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, these countries should be for their people. And I'm like, paper, great. But when in practice it leads to, like, genocide and concentration camps and deporting innocent people without due process.
Eugenics at times.
Yeah. It's a little like, maybe we should slow down and maybe we should chill out a little bit. And yeah. So Andrew Hernandez Romero, 60 Minutes. Google that. You know, you find the 60 Minutes thing.
Also, the reasoning they gave for, like, arresting him, they thought he was, like, a part of this, like, gang for having tattoos with crowns, right? Because
they use the crowns as an identifier for Tren de Aragua, which, from what I could tell, and again, this ain't 60 Minutes, this is my dumbass, that's not a very effective way to identify a gang member in Tren de Aragua, like a crown tattoo. Whereas, like, MS-13 is another gang that's being talked about a lot. They have big MS's in a 13 tattooed on their body somewhere. So it's literally, read them. You can tell they're a gang member.
And
but the crown is not it's not
synonymous.
It's not great. It's not great. Plenty of people have crown tattoos that aren't gang members.
Exactly.
Not a lot of people have big ass MS-13s on them that aren't a part of MS-13.
Yeah. He had a tattoo that said mom. It had a little crown on it. He had a tattoo that said dad. It had a little crown on it. So to me, that just means he likes his parents. Like, you know. Yeah.
What a crime. Which, where I'm from, it is a crime, but not one I want you to be locked up for. I'm like, you mess with your parents? Who messes with their parents, bro?
It's just that's a stupid reasoning to like take someone's life away.
To lock them in a box and throw away the key and take away their ability to speak to people. Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
To take away their freedom of speech.
Yeah. And it's like if you want to declare people terrorists for
prove it.
Talking about due process,
then call me a terrorist.
It's like that's my right to fucking talk on see when I was talking to my mom about it, she was trying to tell me like to have an open mind about like the good that's being done and stuff. It's like, girl,
if the good is being done at the cost of due process, there's no good being done.
No, she was telling me too. She was like, what are you gonna do about it though? Then, like, what are you gonna do about it then? Like,
go scream in the town square.
But the way she said it was like literally like feel powerless. Like what
and
can
that
you do?
Sucks.
What can you do?
That's where
you know what I told her is like I can fucking yap, dude. That's all I can do. I can yap. Oh my gosh.
It is so frustrating to be living in the 21st century America in a country that has historically fuck bitches get money.
Yeah.
That is now like just disregard everyone. Just fuck everyone. And it's like that's even say like America fuck bitches get money. It's just like it's just facetious. It's like America is the greatest country in the world, bro. And it's because you can come here and become American. It's because when we believe that all people are created equal, not because you're American, not because your parents were American, but because you're a person and you're created as equal as I am. Not because I was born in California or Florida or fucking Montana and you were born in like Venezuela or El Salvador or fucking Brazil. It's like we are all created equal, and that's American. That's inherently American. And if you disagree with that, go read your history books, because it's.
All right.
Who do we got left?
We got Neri Alvarado.
Yeah, his tattoo that he was identified as a gang member was not a crown tattoo, but it was a ribbon. And then what kind of ribbon tattoo was it?
It was an autism awareness ribbon.
Yeah.
In tribute to his brother.
With his brother's name.
Yeah.
Tattooed in the ribbon.
Yeah.
Very similar to the mom and dad.
Yeah.
It's like these are tributes to these people. And I haven't heard anybody connecting ribbons to Tren de Aragua. You know, the crowns is a stretch.
Yeah.
And the ribbons is nothing.
Yeah.
And like this man, because he has a tattoo supporting his autistic brother, is now locked in a box without a trial, thinking he may very well die there.
Yeah.
Not knowing that anybody in the world cares about him. And it's like, I'll say that I can't say this enough about these people. It's like, if I was them, bro, I'd be crying myself to sleep every night. And I wish I'm like, yo, that's not very manly. Would you be fucking manly if they put you on a plane, sent you to a different country that you've never been to, shaved your head, locked you in a box, pushed you down by the neck to walk you everywhere you go? They took away your ability to speak to people around you. I'd cry myself to sleep every night.
Yeah.
And if you don't think you would, I think you're being dishonest.
Yeah.
I think you're being dishonest, or you're a more hardened criminal than I am.
We got Jers Reyes Barrios.
He was also mentioned in the 60 Minutes coverage of this stuff. Yeah, he had another tattoo, another crown tattoo.
He was okay. He was a soccer player and like a soccer coach. His favorite team
was Real Madrid.
Their logo
is like an MD with a crown on it.
It's like a cup, a ball, and a crown.
Yeah, it's not. There's no soccer ball in their logo.
There's not.
There's not. It's like an MD in a circular fashion.
Oh, okay.
But it's like ball.
No, but it's also like that is their logo. That's the team's official logo.
Yeah. So he just got, instead of the MD and a crown, he got a soccer ball and the crown.
Yeah. And then that was enough. That was enough to pick him up, take him away. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it's different, but it is like it's his favorite soccer team.
Yeah.
It's literally got a logo with a circle and a crown on top. He made a circle with a crown on top,
yeah.
And the circle is a soccer ball. The man's a coach.
What?
Prove that he's a gang member before you treat him like a gang member.
Yeah, or you call him a terrorist, and then send him to a terrorist holding facility.
Prove it.
Yeah, I think this is just we've been known. Our country's pretty corrupt. We've been known.
And that's actually one of the most frustrating things I've heard from people when I talk about this is they're like, it's always been corrupt. They're just doing it loud now. And I'm like, so that makes it okay?
Exactly.
So that makes it okay because they've always done this? It's like, I'm glad they're doing it loud because now we can fight against it.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, but because it's always been this way, it'll always be this way and now we just have to take it?
No, see, to me, that's not American. Because it's like how we even started, like, the founding fathers, like, being oppressed, right? And being taken advantage of and fucking, like I'm the king. I get to fucking come into your home because I feel like it.
Imagine saying some stuff like it's always been corrupt to the founding fathers.
Yeah.
Like if George Washington was in this room and you were like, nah, man, it's like the government. They've always been corrupt. And he's like, motherfucker. I started this government.
They're like, motherfucker, I started this over 2% tax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I kept the language specifically vague so that we could free slaves in the future. Like, look, man, I needed slaves and my wife needed to be taken care of after I died, and that's just the world we lived in. But I could see that there's an issue with it, so I just kept it vague so that way after I died, people could fight about it.
Honestly, we do have wiggle room and like grow, like we grow as a country, and like, my God, this is just like. Because if the Japanese internment camps were like a nasty stain on our like name or whatever, like this is just gross and ugly.
It's gonna be a nasty thing to talk about the future generations too. I think is like the other time our president said screw due process and send people to a foreign country. I don't think that we will remember this time fondly in history.
It's scary when I've tried to talk to people and they just like can't accept that like negative things like are happening, you know?
It's like a ostrich with its head in the sand.
It's like ignorance is bliss. But it's like
until it hits you upside the head with a baseball bat.
People are being affected, and it's like not to. I know people keep conflating it to Germany and stuff, and like not like Nazi Germany, but it's like.
Bro,
honestly, if you think about
I was comparing Trump to Hitler in 2016.
If you think about it, though, it literally is that like they came for these people, then they came for these people, then they came for me.
But there was no one left to fight for me.
Yeah, and it's just like we got to do something. Before we all are, before we all have to do something. We got to do something before we have to do something. Because it's I don't. All people are created equal. Hoorah, USA. Yeah, exactly. It's the coolest country in the world to be alive. I was born American. My dad was born American, and I think his dad was born American. My grandma was not born American. My grandma came here. It's the greatest country in the world. My grandma's American. My grandma's more American than me, she would think, because she's way pro-Trump. And I'm just like, Grandma, how do you feel about Scotland? She's like, I could care less about Scotland. And I'm like, okay. Okay. But it's like she came here and she's American now. Yeah.
She's Scottish. I mean, she's got the thick accent and everyone loves her. Yeah. But if you ask her, she's like, I'm American.
Yeah.
She's more American than she is Scottish. She spent more of her life in America than Scotland. She would vote to... If it comes between hurting America or hurting Scotland, she's hurting Scotland.
Yeah.
Like that's where she's at right now.
Yeah.
And she wasn't born here. It wasn't like her parents were here, came here. Like, she's American.
Yeah.
And she wasn't even born here. She became American. My mom was born American. I'm born American. My dad, born American. My grandma became American.
Yeah.
She's Scottish American. She, and it's not to, like, she's not a Scot in America.
No.
She's Scottish American.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And, like, hoorah!
How beautiful is that? No, how beautiful is that?
So cool. So cool. So cool. I guess we could kind of start wrapping this up, I guess, if we want to. Because we dropped all the names. You wanna list them out real quick, back to back, one more time.
All right. If you guys wanna look them up, here they are again. All right. We got Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Frangel Reyes, Andri Hernandez Romero, Neri Alvarado, Jers Reyes Barrios.
And I'll put all those names in the description on YouTube at least. I'll probably try to put them on Spotify as well. So that way you don't have to try and spell that just based off sound. But you can look it up in the description. Because, yeah, I mean, these are human beings. These are human beings. Label them terrorists, label them whatever the hell you want. Prove it in court. They're human beings.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time to be alive. I didn't think I'd be living through. I remember being a child. I was like 8 years old. And I was like, we're at war? Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought war was history books.
Yeah.
I thought war was dead. I thought it was an antiquated thing. I was like, peace seems so much more, like, it makes sense.
Reasonable.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just to be like, oh, we're at war still. And it's like, that blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I'm 25. It feels even more unbelievable than when I was 8. Like, I'm like, this is happening in America in 2025? What? I can't imagine how the 8-year-olds feel right now when they learn this stuff.
Oh my god.
Bro, like, how do the 8-year-olds feel when they live in a perfect world where everybody sings and holds hands and sing Kumbaya? Where they learn, nope, people are being sent to other countries without a court, without due process. It's like, how did that 8-year-old feel? He's like, oh my god! That 8-year-old's whole worldview just changed.
That 8-year-old hopefully knows what due process is.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably got, like, you know, Republican parents that are like, yeah, those are terrorists. They're bad guys. If you see one, shoot one. Which is also...
Honestly, I have a friend who, like, is Republican, but because she's more conservative in, like, certain things, and, like, no judgment towards that. But it's, like, I don't care what political party you're, like, affiliated with. It doesn't matter.
I don't care what your crime was. You deserve a day in court.
I agree with that.
I don't care what your crime was. You deserve a day in court.
Yeah, let's end on that.
Like, I'm not even going to elaborate. The end. Have a great day. Thank you so much for coming to Intro Avenue. It's been great. Peace out.
You want to go with that one?
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
If you want to do another one where we're both sitting down, I would understand.
It was kind of fun. You like peeked in the corner.
Mm-hmm.